Hey everybody, welcome to Q&A with JP. I'm Bub Coons, Pastor JP, right here. We got a question today, and it kind of goes like that. Because of COVID, because of all the political unrest, because of all the stuff we're seeing, even the last we talked about the end times.
Yeah.
How should we be living? I mean,
Yeah.
is it any different any time that we should be living differently?
Well, the backstory and even talking about that question is I've been reflecting on how, with the whole government response to COVID, life has, as we used to know it, has changed and may not go back to how we used to know it. And it happened so quickly. And that's never happened in my lifetime before, where something has so dramatically changed everything. Which has caused me to reflect on the fact that when the Bible makes these predictions, Jesus in Matthew chapter 24, the Apostle Paul in 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, the Apostle John, the book of Revelation, and it describes cataclysmic events happening, geopolitical events, supernatural events. For the first time, personally, I think, that could really happen.
Right. Stage is set. Yeah.
The stage is set. So it's caused me to go back and look over the Bible and not just kind of draw upon what I was taught in seminary, but what do I really think the Bible teaches? I just read through again the book of Revelation, and then a mini examination of the book of Revelation would be the Olivet Discourse by Jesus in Matthew chapter 24. And so Jesus lays out the signs leading up to his second coming, right? Then afterwards, he gives how we should be living in light of that. Right. So at the end of Matthew 24 and Matthew 25, we really have an answer to that question. Right. And there are three things that really emerge. The first one is Jesus says, be alert and be watchful. So we should be, of all people, reading the signs of the times. We should be aware of what's happening in our world, what's happening in our nation, what's happening politically, what's happening from the standpoint of all the signs that are mentioned in Matthew 24. We should be looking for those things. So when and if they do come, it doesn't take us by surprise.
Right.
So it's be watchful.
Right.
The second thing is Jesus says, be doing what the master has called you to do. So the response is not, buy a generator, buy a bunch of guns, and go move to Utah,
Right.
or Idaho,
Unless you're called specifically to.
But be obedient to what you know, and this may sound super simple, but it's like, well, what are just some of the things I know? Love God and love my neighbor.
Right.
Forgive those who trespass against me. Let my light shine before men. Love my wife as Christ loved the church. Pray for my enemies. Share the gospel. Live a holy life. I mean, I just go through, these are things I know. Be obedient to God's word, the things that I know. And then the third thing that Jesus says, and this is what he gives a couple of stories about in Matthew 25, is faithfully steward all your opportunities and resources. So every person has gifts, natural and spiritual. Every person has time and relational opportunities. Steward those for eternity, which I take to mean make the most of being a witness for Christ right now. When we get to heaven, we'll worship God, we'll fellowship with one another, but we won't be able to win lost people to Jesus.
Right now, 1 minute after you die.
But right now, we all have friends and family and coworkers who don't know the Lord. And because we do know at some point Jesus is coming back, we should steward all of our opportunities to try to influence and win those people to Jesus. So how we should live, I mean, that's a short answer to the big question, but it's laid out for us in Matthew 24 and Matthew 25.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that God doesn't tell you when it all ends, right? Because then our human nature would wait to the last second to do all these things, and I got a year now I go. So it's like, again, when we talked about the imminent return of Christ, he could return any time. So the whole point, I think, even the first century Christians and all those people thought that Jesus was going to come back, and they lived their lives according to that, and that's why they could write these things in there. And I think I think one of the things, it should be an emergency, right? In a sense, if this is all true, which it is, then souls are at stake. It's time to evangelize, time to witness, it's time to get out there and defend the biblical worldview, proclaim the gospel. It's not a time to run and hide and bunker down.
Right, because we certainly live in an age where the world speaks, evangelistically about the things that they care about.
Right.
So how much more should we as as followers of Jesus. I guess the goal, as I'm even thinking about it, would be, if someone asked you, if you knew Jesus was coming back at midnight tonight, what would you do between now and then?
Right.
I guess the goal would be
He is. Assuming.
not any different than what I was going to be doing,
right.
because I'm living faithfully now.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean?
I like that, because that's my whole point, is what I was saying, even though it wasn't clear, is that it could be at midnight.
Yes.
And so it's no time to just rest and think it might not be.
Right.
Actually assume that it will be.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a peaceful urgency.
Right.
I live with urgency, knowing that the time is short and I need to make the most of every opportunity for Jesus. But I'm at peace. I'm not under stress. I'm not under performance.
Yeah.
I'm living in the grace of God, and there's a spontaneity about living life in every moment, but doing it on purpose, so that I live for Jesus. I shine the light of Jesus. I share the love of Jesus. I obey the commands of Jesus. I talk to my friends about Jesus.
Yep.
And I do it in a way that at any moment that the Lord comes back, I could expect to receive, "Well done, my good and faithful servant."
Right. Well, I like that. I hope you get that. I hope I get that. See you guys next time.